Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everybody and sharing hellos and greetings and some laughter. Here we are still here on September the 30th at our Winston-Salem Transit Authority board meeting, which we will continue, unfortunately, to have virtually until further notice. But welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. We've got a good slate of things to talk about today, so we'll get to it. Please permit me in stating there's a statement that I must read. Due to the Safer at Home order issued by Governor Roy Cooper, the Winston Transit Authority Board of Directors meeting are participating virtually. All members will vote by a roll call. So, and at this time, we will have the verbal roll call. I believe Ms. Tika.
All right, Chairman Garcia.
Here.
Vice Chairman King.
Present.
Dr. Jack Fleer.
Present.
Fleer.
Present.
Mr. Willie Clark.
Present.
Ms. Latanya Wright.
Here.
Ms. Lynette Allendorf.
Here.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson.
Present.
And Mr. Philip Osborne, has he joined us? No? All right.
Mr. Osborne is joining now.
Okay.
He is on, Ms. Woodson.
Yes, Mr. Osborne, if you would make the board aware if you have joined with the audio, please.
I'm so sorry. I was talking to some of my students. I apologize.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, well, as usual, we have a safety message. So I think a lot about these safety messages, and here we are. Wow, almost October, which brings us into the fall season, which brings us into, unfortunately, that other season, which is the flu season. You know, there's some of us, I'm sure, that always get our flu shots for the year. They're already advertising it everywhere. Just that would be a safety message, because along with the pandemic, I know myself, I'm waiting on the booster. But then again, there's also the flu shot to be taken too. So please just consider that a safety message. Don't forget about that flu vaccination also, because they're definitely two different ones. So just keep taking care of yourself and your families. We're still battling. We're going to win. We're going to come out on the other end of this. I'm convinced. Now moving to public comment. Ms. Woodson, I don't believe I saw anybody join us from a public comment perspective.
Tika can verify, but to my knowledge, no one has requested the virtual information.
No, ma'am, and no, sir, no one has.
Okay, thank you very much. And just let everybody know, we do make that available to everybody on our website, where there's a link that they can join us. So it's not because we avoid them. They are certainly welcome. All right, that takes us into the action items. You'll notice right here in front, our first action item is the introduction of the new transit planner, Mr. Matthew Duchan. Mr. Duchan, are you with us?
I am here, yeah. I'm Matt
right.
Duchan. I'm the new transit planner with the city of Winston-Salem, and I'm excited to meet everybody and work with everybody. I've met some of you before, but some of you I haven't. So.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And unfortunately, we got to do this by Zoom, but we'll get together in person before you know it. And look forward to working with you. And anytime you want to reach out to myself or any of the board members, we certainly welcome that interaction. Maybe if you have any questions or just want to get to know everybody. So thank you for joining us.
Definitely.
Next on our action items is the approval of the August 26, 2021 Winston Authority board minutes.
Mr. Garcia.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Garcia, if I may, I apologize for interrupting. We do have another guest on our call today. I wasn't sure that he would be able to join us, and I wanted to make the board aware if it's appropriate to do so at this time.
Okay, but of course.
Yes.
What might that
So
be?
again, we do have another invited guest, Mr. Aaron King. I'm sure that most of you know that our former assistant city manager who WSTA was under the jurisdiction of, he actually recently left the city of Winston-Salem the latter part of August. That was Damon Duquesne. And in the interim, Mr. Aaron King will be managing WSTA along with DOT and other departments that were under Mr. Duquesne. So at this time, I would like for Aaron King to briefly say hello, if he would so do so. And he may be just joining and not able to speak at this time, but at least you all are aware. And I'll make sure that in our next meeting that he has a space so that he can speak to the board on behalf of his new role as the interim assistant city manager.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And if you'd like to send him just something in the chat, Ms. Woodson, and he can pop up and introduce himself towards the end of the meeting again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So the approval of the August 26th board minutes. You received them via email, had a chance to review. Maybe you didn't. They're going to come here before you. We'll take just a couple of minutes just to go through. I believe Tika has taken us through these minutes right now. If there are any questions, edits, corrections, we'll take it just a couple of minutes.
When appropriate, I move their approval.
Dr. Flair, thank you very much. We have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 26th board meeting. Do we have a second?
Willie Clark, second.
Mr. Clark, thank you very much. Now Tika will take us through a roll call to approve.
Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman King,
Aye.
Dr. Jack Fleer,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark Jr.,
Aye.
Miss Latanya Wright,
Aye.
Miss Lynette Allendorf,
Aye.
Miss Jeanette Lawson Jackson,
Aye.
and Mr. Philip Osborne.
Aye.
Okay. Those opposed, same sign. I believe it was a unanimous decision. Thank you very much, Tika. Next on our action items, we have our resolution, and we'll bring it up here. It's a resolution authorizing artistic WSTA bus shelter project. I believe we've talked about this before through the Public Art Commission of Winston-Salem, Forsyth County. Really nice project and nice to see you again. Ms. Woodson, would you like to speak on this?
Yes, sir. Thank you again, board members. This resolution is actually from the informational item that was presented to the board in our August meeting. And we come before you this afternoon to ask for approval to permit the Arts Commission to move forward with installing artistic designs in our WSTA bus shelters. And Kelly Bennett presented to you all in the last meeting. He is on the call today to entertain any questions or concerns, if there be any, prior to moving forward with approval or not.
Ms. Woodson, total number?
The first phase was 12, and this second phase, I have not been identified with the amount. It may be the same 12, I'm not sure. Kelly may be able to answer that question. If they have a specific number of shelters they will be installing the artwork on this round.
I think that number will be probably between 10 and 12. Some of the costs have gone up a little bit. So we'll have to check on that before we advertise the exact number.
Makes
Okay.
sense. Everything's gone up.
Everything, yes. Okay. Fellow board members, questions, comments?
I move its approval.
Dr.
I'll
Fleer, thank
second.
you very much. We have a motion to approve by Dr. Fleer. Do we have a second?
Right, second.
We have a second. Thank you, Matt. And now we will, through roll call, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Tika?
Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman King,
Aye.
Dr. Fleer,
Aye.
Mr. Willie Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Latanya Wright,
Aye.
Ms. Lynette Allendorf,
Aye.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson,
Aye.
and Mr. Philip Osborne.
Aye.
Thank you, Tika. I believe that was a unanimous. Thank you very much. And once we find out, I think it'd be very interesting. It'd be in our best interest to stop by and look at them. They really take some really unbelievable effort to put these together, the ones that we have now. So thank you very much for that.
Thank
Ma-
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the informational items now, and I know I'm going to set this up for yourself and Miss Tina Carson Wilkins, who will be joining you.
Yes, thank you again for the approval of the resolution for the bus shelter artwork installations. We really appreciate that on behalf of WSTA and the Public Art Commission. So in our last meeting, we made you aware of the challenges that WSTA was facing with as it relates to employment shortages, especially within our driver and operator positions. We are currently still understaffed. We did implement the temporary service reduction in our fixed route services. There was no reduction or any modifications made to the trans aid department. Everything is operating the same. With that, WSTA staff got together and we thought that it was time to move forward with some solicitation and try to do what we can to encourage applicants to come to WSTA to be a part of the WSTA team. So one of the things that we implemented was a hiring bonus, and basically any individual that comes to work for WSTA and meets the criteria for the bonus program will enter into the bonus program day one of employment, and they will have the ability to obtain $1,000 at the end of that period. That would actually guarantee us at least a year with that employee based on the terms of the bonus program. In addition to the bonus program, we have an employee referral bonus program as well. And this is basically within if you're an active WSTA employee and you refer an individual to come work for WSTA and they are interested and they come in and they're hired, that employee who referred that candidate is eligible for a $300 referral bonus. So these are just a couple of things that we are actively doing at WSTA to try to employ and fill that gap of work shortage as it relates to our drivers or any employee that comes to work for WSTA in any department. So those are the two programs we have. We're going to do participate in some job fairs with the city of Winston-Salem. But Tina Carson Wilkins is going to come in and address some other important facts as it relates to our shortage and our responses to our hiring program bonuses.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to let you know we are running a digital campaign right now, recruitment campaign. It's up and running. It's been up for about a week, a full week now, running strong. And so far, we've had about over 1,600 click-throughs on Google Display, 356 click-throughs on Facebook and Instagram. Excuse me. And because we chose to go to a location where mostly people who work pull up that website and look for jobs, we went on LinkedIn as well to place some ads, and we have had about 97 click-throughs on that. We're going to place an ad in the Winston-Salem Chronicle as part of a sponsorship that we're doing, and we'll be running digital ads for the month of October on the Chronicle as well. We look forward to perhaps going on with some other interviews that will be coming up, but we've had some interest from local media when we put out the press release. The information was sent out to all the stations, including Spectrum News, who picked it up actually off of our Facebook feed. And we did an interview regarding the need to hire some operators as well as other employees here at the Transit Authority. And Ms. Woodson did an interview with TV 13, which we are going to upload on our social media and allow that to run consistently. This information is also available on our website. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them about that.
Ms. Woodson and Ms. Wilkins, I think this is great. We certainly are not immune, much like every other company and business during this pandemic, from a staff shortage, and also too creating new and innovative ways of bringing on staff, i.e. bonuses, incentive programs. So let's hope we can get some drivers. I know we've got great ones now. We've had great ones in the past, and I'm sure it will. Let us know how we can help, or if there's if you're ever doing some of these hiring fairs, if you need some board support behind you, let me know.
Thank you. Appreciate
Fellow
that.
board members, do you have any questions about these two programs? Okay.
This is Mr. King.
Yes, sir. Mr. King.
I guess my only question, have we ever considered advertising on one of the Hispanic stations or in one of the Hispanic newspapers?
Oh, I typically do advertise, but right now I don't have any advertising on radio. And the reason that we're even going to, pardon me, have the ad in the Chronicle is because it's part of a sponsorship that we're doing with the Chronicle for an event that's going to be going on in Winston-Salem very soon. But I'll be more than happy to reach out to Norson Media is who we typically go to, because they have a newspaper as well as radio stations that reach into and distribute in Winston-Salem.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Tina, and also, how about through Goodwill Industries? Tina, were you able to hear me? Oops.
You lost your audio, Tina.
I think her, oh yeah, thank you. Tina, if you can hear, I think you lost your audio. I mean, you were unmuted, but it wasn't coming across. The joys of Zoom meetings, right? When our computers decide to act up. Tina, that's okay. I just had a question about if you hear me about Goodwill Industries, if you ever consider them. That was the only question. So Ms. Woodson, if we can move on about the suspension of the 13 evening routes.
Yes. So that was Tina's report that she was going to report on, but when she lost her audio. So basically, what you have before you is a list of the 13 routes that were suspended on September the 19th. This shows the last outbound trip that they will perform as of the 19th. And so far, we have not had a lot of negative feedback as a result of the suspension of services. Of course, there's some riders that were affected and they've reached out for various reasons, specifically for employment, and to find out, make sure that we could do anything to accommodate them for that. But the purpose of the suspension was because we are short-staffed. So we're doing what we can to assist wherever possible to make sure that we don't, that we don't work. Tina, was that you? I heard, okay. So, no, it's still not working. But these were the 13 routes. And again, the routes that were selected because they are the lowest ridership routes. And that, along with the fact that we wanted to continue to have the routes running until midnight as scheduled, that had provided services to the hospitals, et cetera. So I will entertain any questions in regards to the 13 routes.
So from a concerns or complaints or negative comments, they've been minimal, you would say?
They have been minimal. We have had some, but we were able to make some accommodations for a few, and but we have not had a lot of negative feedback. I believe the society, the community is well aware of the shortages, and they know that WSTA, we kept the buses running throughout the height of the COVID, and we have not ended services. We reduced just to Saturday service for just a short length of time, but that was only a reduction of 5 or 6 routes. So I do believe that the city knows that we've done our due diligence as much as possible, but we've come to that time where we had to make some drastic measures because of our shortages, which were beyond our control. So there was not, as Tina stated, there was not a lot of negative feedback in regards to our temporary suspension. And we are actively, aggressively trying to hire and fill those positions so that we can return the service back to the street as soon as possible.
I would just like to jump in and say that y'all have done a tremendous job to not have had to have canceled any sooner through this. This has been very, very lengthy, but you all have done a great job in keeping things covered.
Thank you so much.
Can you guys hear me now? Oh,
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt
Tina.
Donna, but I do want to say that the information for the temporary suspensions is also on our IVR system. And we have it posted all over the transportation center. And the information has been, I guess, on posters and every place else, and it's also on our buses. I don't know if she mentioned that because I blanked out for a moment.
No, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. And ladies, I gotta believe that this might shed some light on some services that maybe we would consider even cutting back even after the shortages cease to exist.
It may. What we're looking for is, I believe in the last board meeting, I made the board aware of the route study that was going to be done by HDR, and they're actually going to be entertaining and looking at our route and our existing ridership and a lot of data to make those recommendations. If that will be a recommendation, I'm not sure, but it definitely is definitely a possibility. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Fellow board members, any questions about these suspended routes, evening routes?
No, but I have a question, Donna. I know we had 3 people in training. Do we have any more additional applications?
No, sir, ma'am. We still have 3 in training. They're actually been released to revenue service, so we're happy about that. So next Sunday they will actually have routes, so that will be exciting. And we hope that they stay with us. We lost a couple more, so we actually had 5, and then we lost 1, and then we lost another one last week. So we do have 3 that just graduated from class. And then we have a new hire class starting on Monday. Unfortunately, over half of the class that was supposed to start on Monday will not start. They did not move forward with the position, but and so much so we don't have an exact number for the class on Monday, but
Okay.
we know that we have a new hire class starting on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tina, did you want to say anything else about your marketing report since we're here?
No, other than we wanted to share information about the ridership in August 2021. I think Carol is probably going to talk about the statistics and what the numbers mean, how they look, and things of that nature. But the blank spaces in the purple column, which is 2020, reflect when we were doing the abbreviated service due to COVID, which we started in April of last year. And there were some of the routes that were not operating. So just so that you would be able to note what the differences are, why there are some blank spaces in 2020 versus 2021. That's it primarily. I'm sorry, I still can't hear you, but any questions that you all might have, please feel free to hit me up in chat, and I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you, Tina. Okay. Well, great reporting on those topics. So that was very, very important. And, you know, we made almost front page headlines on that, but I think everything is settled. I think everybody has realized that, like I said, we're not immune. So we're doing our best. And thank you, Ms. Woodson, and all the staff for your efforts in that.
Thank you.
Take us over to the staff reports now. I think the first one is going to be the North State, that monthly incident report.
Yes. So this is just, as I stated to you all on in our August meeting, we had approximately 32, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, incidents that happened in July. Well, as you can see, the incidents have come down. So in August, we had about 12 incidents. And I just like to keep the board abreast of the types of incidents that take place that North State security group that manages the security at the transportation center have to deal with. So these were the list for August. And if you have any questions, I'll entertain.
And so far, you've felt very comfortable with North State's job there and around the center?
They have increased their awareness and their participation in their efforts towards making sure that the security efforts are being managed at the transportation center. We have a good working relationship with them thus far. This is their last year on the contract, so that service will be up for advertisement and bid for the next year.
And I remember at one time we had a police substation there at the transportation center. We don't anymore. But do they is the transportation center a regular route for some police officers to go through?
They do. Winston-Salem PD, they come through there. The bike patrol spends a lot of time at the transportation center in the downtown area overall. So we have a good relationship between WSTA staff, North State, and WSPD, the bike patrol specifically. But yes, they do have a presence there, and we hope to increase that presence in the next year or so.
Okay. All right. I believe, Carol, I think you're up.
All right, Carol, I'll let you share your screen so that you can do your monthly report. All right.
All right, can you see the presentation? Good. All right, well, we're back into our regular monthly data presentation. And I'm just going to jump in and get started. I changed up the beginning of the, hold on a sec, let me make one change. There we go. I changed up the beginning couple of slides of the presentation a little bit. The other slides I had in there were so many numbers because it's gone on for so long, COVID has. So I decided just to change it to an over time look at both fixed route and Transaid on the next slide. So just to refresh everyone's memory, you know, we started up here, you know, back when times were normal, we were doing about 200,000 riders a year. And then we kind of bottom dropped out in April of 2020. And we've slowly been crawling back. We had free ridership during this time period, which is why, you know, the ridership got very high. Then we stopped that and we kind of leveled off to about 120,000 a year roughly. And it's down 38% from where we were. But, you know, is this our new normal? Don't know. We will see. When I wrote this, I did not know at the time we were going to be reducing service again. So, you know, our new normal is going to change again. The early numbers in are showing that it is the number, you know, the ridership is reducing some. But I'll have more information on that next month. So same thing with Transaid. You know, we were up around 20,000 a month and then dropped down to 8. And Transaid has been slowly making its way back and now is around a 14,000 passengers a month, which is down, you know, 29%. And I think you can see when the vaccine came out, you know, in the beginning of the year, you know, it popped back up and it's not near normal, but, you know, it's been pretty consistent. So that's good to see. This may be our new normal for now. So now going back to fixed route and just looking at the regular 13-month rolling data, we're up a little bit this last month in August, but you know, this is our new norm here. We're pretty high in March. Probably we had 23 days, weekdays in that month, but you know, around 20,000, 2,500, 25,000 a month is our new norm. And we'll see if we make it back to, you know, up to 200,000 again. I hope one day we will see. And conversely, our passenger per revenue hour is down around 9. And that will go up a little bit now that we've reduced service. As you can see, a year ago, we were running Saturday service and had more ridership, so it was higher. But now we're, you know, down around 9 passengers per revenue hour. Wheelchair ridership has been on the increase. You know, in the summer months, that is common to see, up to about 500 or so. Not as high as we were last year, and definitely not as high as we were pre-COVID time, but good to see that number going back up. And bike passengers, pretty stable, little drop last month, but peaked out this summer at about 800 in July. But as I think it got so hot in August, maybe people were deterred from getting out and riding bikes. On-time performance is dropped a little bit this past month. We've been working on the GTFS speed and hopefully have it in better shape now. So we'll see a positive impact on our on-time performance. Switching over to Transaid, you can see that in August is the highest month we've had in a year in ridership at 14,400. So that's positive. Now, you know, we're moving in the right direction in Transaid as those passengers are feeling more comfortable about getting out and riding the service. Trips per hour hasn't changed a whole lot. It's about 2.5, 2.6, which is very healthy. That's a good rate for passengers per hour on Transaid. Wheelchair riders have seen, again, once the vaccine, happened earlier in the year, we definitely see more wheelchair riders getting out. And on-time performance is suffering in TransAid due to our driver shortage. They're trying to do 700 trips a day with, not a lot of drivers. So, and it's showing in our on-time performance. We're down just below 90% last month. Transitioning over to our accident data, we had a good month in August. We only had 2 preventable accidents, 2 non-preventable accidents, no preventable accidents, which is great to see. And both those accidents were in fixed route. TransAid had none, which was great. They've had a good year, a lot of zeros in there. But not as good as maintenance. Maintenance has had a really good year. Just 1 preventable accident in June, but otherwise zeros across the board. Maintenance road calls were about average last month, a total of, if I can add correctly, let's see, 34, and most in fixed route, which would be the norm. Down a little bit, maybe seeing the impact of the new buses in fixed route. We had those 9 new buses that got on the road in August, I believe, maybe the end of July, but hopefully that will help our road call numbers. Moving over to our phone data, the number of calls coming in is, right in line with where we were last August, about 1,300, and that seems to be our new norm moving forward. The percent of phone calls answered has just been great. You can see for quite a while now, we have been above our 95%, which is our goal. I think this year they're averaging like 97.5, which is just amazing to answer that high percentage of calls. And with reduced staff, which they just got back up to full speed here recently, but they've been doing a great job. And then the abandoned calls are stable. They're just up and down a little bit every month, but very stable. So that's good to see. Any questions?
Ms. Patrick, this is Jack Fleer. I wonder if you have any comparative data for other transit systems and their ridership, say over the past 18 months or something.
Yeah, PARD had been sharing that information, and they started doing it quarterly, and they changed that nice graph that I used to show. It doesn't show any more of that nice, ridership data. So I could pull something together to show myself going forward. I can see if I can get that information for them. I don't have, I think the last slide we got from them was maybe the beginning of summer, if I remember correctly, but nothing since then. But I can provide that.
I was just thinking that things that I read about other metropolitan areas do suggest that public transit continues to have issues with concerns about the pandemic, safety and those kind of things. And I know that our system and probably others are taking major efforts to try to make it as safe as possible, but there's still the questions in people's minds. So that's sort of where I was coming from.
Yeah, the safety issue, and also just other systems are also struggling with driver shortages.
Oh, yeah.
We are. So, I know there's other systems out there that have had to reduce service just like us, some way more than us. So, yeah, it's a double whammy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
fellow board members, any further questions? Carol, you always great reports. Any further questions for Miss Carol before we let her go?
Maybe I could ask one more. I'm sorry.
Of course.
Do you know of other systems, say, for example, in the state or in the region, who are reducing their routes because of, let's say, driver shortage?
I know just this morning in our staff meeting, Donna was talking about this, and if I can remember correctly, some of the stats that she gave us, I know Durham has significantly reduced their routes, if I remember correctly. Donna, am I saying that right? Was it Durham you mentioned?
Yes, Durham has temporary reduction in service, as well as Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill actually is 30 drivers short as well. So they're experiencing a reduction in services. And we know that PART had suspended some of their routes. And I think they discontinued actually a couple routes due to driver shortages, and then the lack of ridership that was pre-COVID. That was an opportunity for them to totally suspend those routes, permanently suspend those 2 routes, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, there are other systems that have reduced their services due to driver shortages and the fears of COVID.
Right.
And I think Greensboro has reduced some of their 30-minute service.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Woodson, I think we've got the maintenance report, I believe, was the next one on there. The finance report. I think, of course, Carol talked to that maintenance report. It looks like we've done pretty good. John, always doing a great job out there, John. Thank you.
Yes, and the only thing that's left is the staff reports. If anyone has any questions on the reports that were provided, we'll be glad to entertain any questions or concerns.
Okay. Wow. No questions today. We love questions, don't we, Ms. Woodson?
Well,
even challenging questions.
They can be challenging. That's fine. We entertain them. We'll answer them. If we can't answer them today, we will get the answer for you.
Yeah. And that holds so true, everyone, fellow board members, that if you see something and maybe you didn't catch it and you go, whoa, and maybe I don't quite understand this, please reach out to Donna or to Carol and just there, and be more than happy to address any questions that you might have. Also, too, I believe fellow board members, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Woodson, but I believe everybody has your email address.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, well, you should if you receive the packets. I mean, I know they come from Tika, but certainly reach out. And I know, Ms. Allendorf, I think you made a note there that you just you were up and about moving. I hope all is well. I saw your note in the chat.
Yes, we wish you a speedy recovery.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's going very well. I just can't sit still for very long. I for everyone else, I had knee surgery a couple of weeks ago, so I squirm around a lot. So I closed my camera for a bit.
That's not a problem.
Not a problem.
Now, if I just had my fifth one about 6 weeks ago, so I know.
Oh goodness.
Yes, I kind of have an obsession with knee surgeries.
Well, I had both of mine replaced this year, so hopefully I'm done for a while.
Hey, you only got 2 of them.
That's right.
I'm impressed by someone who has 5 knees.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh,
the rest of us were shortchanged.
yeah, no kidding. Well, fellow board members, thank you so very much as always for your participation and just working with us. And we've missed seeing everybody in person. Some of you might have caught the comment I made earlier about here we are going already into the fall season, and that just dawned on me that before you know it, December will be here. And I just remind us, I said, well, we might have to postpone another Christmas get together between us, but we will make it up. We'll figure something out. The safety first.
Safety first.
Safety is first.
As
Your
always.
safety, the safety of the staff. Yeah, that always comes first. So thank you all for your participation. Members of the city, thank you very much. There's Tanique. She always smiles when I say that. Thank you very much for joining us, and staff, you guys do a great job supporting Miss Woodson and all the drivers, and we'll get back up and running. Very confident about it. So if there's no further questions or comments, going once, going twice.